Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Henry, audit partner with Citrin Cooperman, and I'm here today with Brad Jurga of All Star Sports. How you doing, Brad?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us today. So we wanted to bring Brad on as everyone's impacted by COVID and really talk about his story with his company. Brad's an owner. He's been an owner with the business for a very long time. It's a family-owned business. His brother works in his business. The father, his wife, his mom. It goes on and on and on. Uncles. So it's a great long-time family owner-operated business. And I really appreciate you being here to talk a little bit about how COVID-19's impacted you, but also kind of the things that you've faced, how you've reemerged, kind of the steps in this opening, the phase one, phase two, and kind of really where you see the business going in the future. Because I think what's really important and what we're seeing with a lot of companies, and I know you're seeing it, is you're going to have to be doing things a little bit differently going forward and even today. So I think kind of to start off, if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and your business, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Yeah, so my name is Brad Jurga. I'm VP at All Star Sporting Goods, and like Mark mentioned, we're a family-owned business, and we specialize in baseball sporting goods. We're also a licensee of Under Armour as well, so we do all of their batting helmets, catching gear, ball gloves, on top of what we do for our own brand of All Star Sporting Goods. But we make catching gear all the way from T-ball up to the major league players, and have a really good niche within that marketplace. In our are pretty much considered the experts within the industry when it comes to catching gear.
Yeah, and I know that personally because I grew up playing baseball. Baseball is really a big part of my life. I'm on the Little League board of directors. All of our players are wearing all AMPAC gear and All Star Sports gear. So definitely a big part of my life too. So one question is how have you been impacted by COVID? I know it was really the non-essential status was kind of the thing that hit you. But how did you get impacted and what did you do differently once that came through?
Great question. So we went from full steam ahead. I mean, we were having one of our best years ever up until middle of March. January we were setting really good numbers. February great numbers. Halfway through March we were looking really good, and then all of a sudden everything just stopped. Our new sales orders that we were entering in pretty much went to zero. We had cancellations from big retailers all the way down to the small customers that we have as well. So you're dealing with going full steam ahead, throwing all your resources into getting stuff at the door, to all of a sudden having to put everything on pause, and then orders are being canceled and everything's kind of going on within such a short time frame that it kind of leaves you wondering what's really going on. And being an owner of a business and working with the other owners and like my family that's there, it's definitely a situation that we've never ever gone through before, and I think a lot of businesses are in the same situation. But all of a sudden you're thinking about all different aspects of what do you do, and when will it come back, and you try and set yourself up for the future, but at the same time you don't really know what the future entails. So it definitely it came out of nowhere, and it's we'll get through, but it definitely came up pretty quickly.
So with your business being so tied to baseball, I know your schedule in March and April you were out on the road, you're meeting with catchers, you're meeting with teams, you're meeting with agents. What did your daily life look like in March and April? How did things just shut down when baseball shut down? Or what'd you do?
So our schedule is actually a little bit different. So like we're typically on the road pretty much the back half of February, right when spring training starts, and that's pitchers and catchers report. So we get there, we get to check in and see with all of our guys, and for the most part that went normal, and so we got to see all of our players, we got to check in with all the teams, and kind of make sure that's all good. What it really did impact though is kind of more of the business aspect of it. What we do with the major league players that we work with, that's the promotion side of what we do. Some more of the marketing and advertising and working with those guys. It affected the sales side because now we're not able to go to trade shows. You can't connect with the accounts that you typically are going to travel and see. It's a big sell-in season for next year's business at that point in time. So definitely a little bit difficult. But we started using things like this, Microsoft Teams, Zoom meetings, all that stuff. So we had trips being canceled, and internally we just said nobody's traveling anywhere. We still have that policy in place, but we've definitely been making use of stuff like this, just resources where you can see people face to face. You can still do presentations, walk people through line plans, do demonstrations, all that stuff. So just the resources of being able to use some of these nice video conferencing, tools that are out there now. It's made it actually a lot easier than almost going to travel and see people, which is nice.
So you talk a little bit about resources. What about financial resources? I know we've worked with you on some things, but where did you turn and what did you do to kind of get through these times? And, when you're shut down, the sales aren't coming through. Where did you turn first, and what have you done to kind of navigate through this?
Well, we're really lucky to have a really good CFO and a really good advisor, you, in terms of guiding us along the right ways. I'm definitely not a financial expert on my side by any means. So having two really good resources of how and when to do things has been huge. But we hopped right onto the PPP, the SBA loans. We've also found a couple other ways to kind of push things around. We reached out to Coface, who does our credit insurance, and they're extending out some of the coverage that we have, which has been really helpful. So I mean, instantly we just kind of we dove into it, and just made sure if there's resources out there that we're tapping into them, whether we really knew if we needed them or not, we went into it. But it was pretty certain, just in terms of where we were and cash flow and all that's going on with customer cancellations and also customers saying that they're going to be paying us late. It just we needed stuff. It was pretty clear, even before we knew the full picture of kind of what we were getting into, that we needed to tap into certain resources like those. So they helped a lot.
So you talked about sales declining, and a big part of your sales are into retail locations, which we know have been shut down, and large retail locations. So, how did you navigate that in terms of, I know you've been building an e-commerce platform for years, and you've been instrumental in building that for All-Star. I know that kind of took a boom. Where are you in the e-commerce platform, and how far do you see that as kind of the future of your business?
So e-commerce, I mean, we started that about 5 years ago, just getting into that space. And we were probably one of the last baseball brands to even be present online and start selling directly to end users. And every year it's been growing. And it's kind of nice because, I mean, we spend a lot of time building our brand and building products that are just known for really good quality. So people seek our products and go out and try and find them. And so we've actually done very little advertising or anything like that, trying to get people to our website where they can buy stuff. But every year we've had really good growth with the minimal effort that we've actually put into it. But heading into February, our fiscal runs through September through August 31st. And from September through February, we were actually about 60% up versus the prior year in our e-com sales. Since COVID hit, we're trending a little bit lower than we typically would be right now. But it's not as bad as some of the other segments that we're seeing. So we're still getting orders every day. Coming through the weekend, we definitely get a lot that we can ship out the following week. But I mean, e-commerce is kind of the future of things. I mean, you need to be on it in some way, shape, or form. And at this point in time, virtually every brand sells directly to end users. I think the big thing in this is that you can't just put all your eggs into the e-commerce world. You also need to make sure that your other accounts and customers, you're taking care of those guys as well. Last thing you want to do is cut off an arm and replace it with something else, just to have that maybe fall flat. So we got to where we are with the dealers that have supported us throughout the history of our brand. But with e-commerce, you have to be doing it if you are a brand. You control your products, you control your own marketing, you can push new things, you can try new things out, before anything even gets to the marketplace. And so there's a lot of benefits to it. Plus, good margin, when you're selling directly too. So
absolutely. So we talked earlier about being a family business, and I think with that family business it comes a culture, a family business culture. You're into everyone involved in the ownership level outside of one partner is family. You've had a lot of longstanding employees. How did you manage as you had to make some tough decisions and kind of work through this almost restructuring in a way to get through these times. How did you manage the culture, and how are you continuing to manage the culture as people are coming back to work and you're kind of reemerging?
This is probably one of the hardest areas that we've had within the company. I mean, knowing that cash is going to be tight because of certain situations that are going on, that's one thing. But dealing with long-term employees who have been with you, that's difficult. About 15 days after COVID kind of hit in mid-March, we just did a company-wide furlough. I mean, everybody was affected in some way, shape, or form with either pay cut, or just they're on full furlough, where we're paying their benefits, but they're able to collect unemployment and get the extra benefits that the government put through for the unemployment. And so that's tough. We've never, as a company, done anything remotely close to that. We've never done layoffs to save costs or anything like that. We've had employees who have been with us. Actually, one just retired end of the last month, and he was with us for 50 years. So we have a lot of situations like that, or it's not always 50 years, but there's a lot in the 20s and a lot who have been with us over 10 years. Where the last thing we want to do is tell them, hey, sorry, you can't come in today. That's the aspect of the business. And when this started, and we definitely have waves of where this keeps on coming back up again, but that's what makes you feel sick when you go into work certain days, just because it's not fun. That's not the fun aspect of what we're doing. And so it's been the employee aspect of it has been extremely difficult. And trying to maintain company culture, that's hard, but we also have a really good crew that works for us. And so, we're in a weird time right now where we're asking people to do, work more, but get paid less. And, anybody who is here, they're taking on their roles. Plus, we're out in the warehouse, picking and shipping. We're unloading containers. We're reorganizing stuff. We're keeping things going. The business doesn't stop. We might have less people. Things still need to get done. But it's a little bit awkward as an employer where you don't want to crack the whip, say to speak. But it's one of those things where you're telling people, hey, you need to come in. You're likely going to get paid less, and we also expect you to do a little bit more, or pitch in, or pick up these extra pieces that are laying around.
So how about moving forward? We talk about what e-commerce is growing. The retail side of your business is still an instrumental part of your business. You have to keep those partners going. You have to service them. But 12 months from now, 2 years from now, what do you think your landscape looks like? Are you still going to be operating the same way that you were 6 months ago? Or do you think it's kind of a whole reimagination of how you're going to be operating?
Very shortly after, we kind of went through the first wave of COVID and dealing with the employee issues, or not issues, but what we had to do with our employees. It was a question of what does it look like in the future? And truthfully, we still don't know yet, but we're all on the same page that we're looking at. It's a 2.0 company. It's gonna look different. We're gonna be here, but things might be different. We're expecting sales to definitely take a hit next year, just with the timing of our seasons. We kind of got through our busy season this year, which was helpful, but a lot of our customers have inventory now that they're not going to need next year. And so we're expecting it to kind of our sales to be impacted into next year. Don't know the full situation, or we haven't fully gone into next year's budgeting process yet. But it's going to look different. With a decrease in sales, you have less for operating, and so we're going to have to make some sacrifices and choices. But at the same time, we're always looking for new efficiencies and things that we could be doing better. Just because the business doesn't stop, and even if COVID didn't come, we'd still be looking at ways to try and become more efficient and save and do things better. And so that's definitely something that we're still doing. But in general, it's AMPAC 2.0 moving forward. That's the way we look at it. We're not going anywhere. It's going to look a little different, and that's really it. So it's nice having everybody kind of share that same mentality, just because that goes to company culture, and if you get everybody on the same boat, it's going to go a lot easier.
So you said it a couple times. You need to do things better. You need to do things differently. 2.0. So it sounds like you've learned a lot of lessons throughout this whole phase of, how to operate, how to be prepared, who you want to look and feel like going forward. So I guess, what's your biggest lesson that you've learned throughout this whole process?
Personally, at least for me, I've learned way more about business financials in the last 45 days than ever before. Just cash flow, this, that, how it all affects and ties into everything. Again, financials is not my background by any means. I have a general understanding of business math and P&Ls and just what comes in, what goes out, and your bottom line and that sort of thing. But the cash impacts and liquidity and all that stuff, all the factors that go into it are something that I've definitely learned a lot. But I think the other thing too is, stay calm is the big thing. It's really easy to be in a situation and just have all these scenarios going through your mind and panic a little bit. I think just the part of our genes, the Jurga genes, we don't we never really get too worried. I don't know. There's something about it, or maybe we're breaking down a little bit inside, but we don't really show it. But there's always some sort of a plan that will come out of it. Stay calm. Do the work that's there. Keep up with that is the big thing. But I think just don't panic. A plan will be formed. Whether it's something that I can come up with that can help generate sales or keep things going, something that our finance team can come up with and help save or spread something out in a certain way. There's always a way to get through things. You just need to just make a plan and go. But also at the same time, I think one of the nice things that we're doing on our side is we had a lot of big plans and initiatives that we're planning on going forward anyway, big warehouse changes and stuff like that, because we're in a building that's really it's not efficient at all. It's 5 floors of inefficiency for the most part, and just because we have less people, we're still pushing forward with some of the plans that we initially developed, because you have to, when it comes back, you just need to be ready. So that's all part of just the planning process and going forward with it, and develop the plan and stick to it and get it done. That's the main thing. Roll up your sleeves and it'll work.
And that's one thing I've definitely seen from you guys as we partnered through this the last few months is you have definitely stayed calm, forged ahead, and just made a plan, and you're making it happen. So it's definitely good to see you working through this. So I guess one really important question is the baseball season going to happen? Are we going to play Major League Baseball this year?
Personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a little bit too late in the year at this point in time. Actually, there's a local pitcher for the Rays up in our neck of the woods, and I saw him the other day, and truthfully, he's kind of a little scared about what's going to happen. And it seems like the rules and regulations that are proposed, they're just not going to make him want to go back. You have to stay in your hotel room all day long. The way you go to the field, you can't spend any time in the clubhouse. It's just going to be a little bit different for these guys to go back. Plus, he had spring training, and since the COVID-19 pandemic started, he's been trying to work out as much as he can, but he's definitely not in shape to go out there and pitch in the major leagues at all. So I think there's gonna be a lot of back and forth that goes, and I wouldn't be shocked if nothing happened.
Yeah, I know we're all interested in, it's going to be hard for them to return, but we're all interested in having some sort of sports back. So hopefully they're back on the field soon. So with that, Brad, thank you so much for your time. You were great, and really appreciate you coming today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.